in his honor. Thank you, sir.
So, Honorable Sani Zoro.
This is a tribute to a gentleman, a gallant soldier, an elder statesman of no mean repute, whom we have lost less than 48 hours ago. It is a tribute to the late Wazir Nduse, the late Air Vice Marshal retired Mukhtar Mohammed. My honorable colleagues, just less than 48 hours since his maker recalled him, the world has woken up with a great sense of loss by the vacuum created by the exit of an officer gentleman, a fighter, not on account of his training as an Air Force pilot, but on account of his lifelong manner in which he confronted injustice. He advocated for peace and development of the human family within and outside of Nigeria. The social media is already full of condolence messages from leaders, from organizations, and his two friends, the ordinary people, and on whose behalf he waged a relentless but a quiet war so that those who exercise power in their name would do so with sense of compassion, with sense of justice and responsibility. Mr. Honorable Speaker, one of such Nigerian leaders who knew the late Mukhtar Mohammed intimately well until his passing on is no other than Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari, his comrade in the trenches, as well as his compatriot as a Democrat. And this is how Mr. President described the death of this illustrious son of Nigeria in an early testimony today. And I quote, he said, "The late Air Vice Marshal Mukhtar Mohammed was one of the finest, most principled, patriotic, and loyal military officers he had ever known and respected. He was a fountain of inspiration who loved the progress of Nigeria at all times. AVM Mohammed was so passionately committed to his principles and beliefs that he had to leave his military career earlier than expected on account of those principles." Mr. Honorable Speaker, my dear colleagues, AVM Mukhtar Mohammed's death on October 1st, which symbolizes our country's independence, must have also been designed by God Almighty, among other things, to remind Nigerians about whom he loved best as a people and a country. And certainly, the late Wazir Nduse loved Nigeria and Nigerians very well. This is why a mourner described him as a gallant gentleman, an indubitable statesman, an astute soldier, a true father, a dependable community leader, and as a super patriot. As a federal commissioner and member of the then Supreme Military Council, his leadership abilities were obvious as he became the familiar face of federal government's policy on housing and rural development in the mid-1970s. As a one-time military governor of Kaduna State, for example, his soulmate and soldier, Major General Zamani Lekot, has become one of the first to testify to the goodness, to the sincerity and character of the late Mukhtar Mohammed. And so it has been from all nooks and crannies of Nigeria and beyond. It has been praises, it has been accolades, it has been testimonies and prayers to this saintly figure whose private lifestyle was dedicated to mentoring the young, adjudicating between feuding friends, families, and communities, especially within northern Nigeria, which was his natural habitat. He was a fantastic bridge builder too. Those who had the opportunity, those who participated, and those who can recall his contributions during the 2014 National Conference could also testify to his near prophecy about what would end at the outcome of that national conference. But he was one of his leading voices who worked assiduously behind the scenes to see to its success. The Honorable Speaker, my distinguished colleagues, for us of Jigawa State, we have lost a pillar because the late ABM Mutari Mohammed can be credited appropriately with founding Jigawa State itself. Besides, the name ABM Mutari Mohammed had served as a deterrent because on account of his name, on account of his presence alone, evildoers usually shied away. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raj'un. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raj'un. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raj'un. We came from the Almighty, and to him we shall go back. We came from our Almighty Maker, and to him we shall go back. We came from the same source, and to him we shall go back. May Allah receive the soul of ABM Mukhtar Mohammed, Wazir Nduse, in Al-Jannat Firdausi, and give his family, his entire followers, and those who have shared his life, those who have benefited from his life, the fortitude to bear this irreparable loss. We thank the National Assembly for recognizing him, and we pray that the National Assembly can also send a delegation to condole with his family in Kano. He is to be buried later today. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, my distinguished colleagues.
I remain Honorable Dambram Abubakar Nuhu, representing Kano Municipal, the only gentleman from the municipality in the whole of the Green Chambers. Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, I rise with a heavy heart to announce the death of our own Hassan Mohammed, Honorable Hassan Mohammed from Kano State, who served in the Second Republic between the year 1979 to 83 as a member of the House of Representatives. He died after a short illness on the 25th of September in Kano. May his soul rest in peace. May the Almighty Allah grant him eternal rest and Al-Jannat al-Firdaus. Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, I want the House to rise in 1 minute silence, for 1 minute silence, in honor of his death, and may the Almighty Allah grant him Al-Jannat al-Firdaus. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, my honorable colleagues.
Honorable colleagues, as is the custom and tradition of this House, may we please rise. And may the souls of the departed rest in perfect peace.
A new member, Dorati Mato, representing Konshisha Vandakia, Federal Constituency of Benue State, was sworn in. She replaces Herman Hembe, who was sacked by the Supreme Court.
The administration of the oaths.
Do you want to swear, affirm? Do you want to swear or you want to affirm? Affirm. Okay. Then you repeat after me. Where it applies, you mention your name. Oath of allegiance. I do solemnly swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and that I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So help me God. Oath of membership of the House of Representatives. I do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that as a member of the House of Representatives, I will perform my functions honestly to the best of my ability, faithfully in accordance with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the law, and the rules of the House, and always in the interest of sovereignty, integrity, solidarity, and well-being and prosperity of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That I will strive to preserve the fundamental objectives and directive principles of the state policy contained in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and that I will abide by the code of conduct contained in the 5th schedule of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So help me God. Amen. So bring her like that.
Honorable colleagues, any member who has a petition to present to the House may please rise to do so. Any petition?
Bill for an act to alter the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, to include former heads of the National Assembly in the Council of State and for related matters. Third reading.
My name is Mohamed Tari Monguno. I represent Marke Monguno, Ganze Federal Constituency of Borno State. I hereby move that a bill for an act to alter the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to reduce the period within which the President or the Governor of a state may authorize the withdrawal of monies from the Consolidated Revenue Fund in the absence of an appropriate act from 6 months to 3 months, and for related matters be read the third time. I so move.
Honorable member, the question is that the bill be now read a third time. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it.
I hereby move that a bill for an act to alter the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to provide for funding of the House of Assembly of States directly from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the state and for related matters be read the third time. I so move.
Of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to strengthen local government administration in Nigeria and for related matters. Third reading.
I hereby move for a bill for an act to alter the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to provide immunity for members of the legislature in respect of words spoken or written at plenary session or committee proceedings and institutionalize legislative bureaucracy in the Constitution and for related matters. For third reading, I so move.
Seconder.
For the third time, I so second. Thank you.
I hereby move for a bill for an act to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to provide the Independent National Electoral Commission with sufficient time to conduct by-elections and provide grounds for the registration of political parties and for related matters. I so move.
A bill for an act to alter the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to provide for Independent National Electoral Commission with sufficient time to conduct by-elections and provide grounds for deregistration of political parties and for related matters. Third reading.
I hereby move for a bill for an act to alter the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to provide for timely passage of bills and for related matters. I so move.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk is invited to read the long title of the bill.
Provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to provide for timely passage of bills and for related matters. Third reading.
I hereby move for the third reading of a bill for an act to alter the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to require the President and Governors to submit the names of persons nominated as ministers or commissioners within 30 days of taking the oath of office for confirmation by the Senate or the State House of Assembly and for related matters. I so move.
Those in favor of the motion, those against it say nay. The ayes have it. Therefore, call on the Leader of the House
for the third reading of a bill for an act to alter the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to provide for independent candidature in elections and for related matters. I so move.
17. Therefore, call the Leader of the House to move the bill be now read third time.
I hereby move for a bill to an act to alter the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to change the name of the police from Nigerian Police Force to Nigerian Police to reflect their core mandate of providing civil services and for related matters. I so move. I hereby move for the third reading of a bill for an act to alter the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to disqualify a person who was sworn in as president or governor to complete the term of the elected president or governor from being elected to the same office for more than a single term and for related matters. I so move.
The motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Clerks invited to read the long title of the bill.
Provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to disqualify a person who was sworn in as president or governor to complete the term of an elected president or governor from being elected to the same office for more than a single term and for related matters. Third reading.
I hereby move for the third reading of a bill for an act to establish the office of the Accountant General of the Federal Government separate from the office of the Accountant General of the Federation and for related matters. I so move.
The 15th order of the day, honorable colleagues, the third reading of bill for an act to make the office, not officers, the office of the Attorney, of the Auditor General of the Federation and for the state financially independent by placing them on the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation and of the state and for related matters. Honorable members who recall that the House adopted the report of Committee of the Whole on the bill on Thursday, 27 July 2017. Therefore, call on the Leader of the House to move that the bill be now read the third time.
Of a bill for an act to make the office of the Auditor General of the Federation and for the state financially independent by placing them on the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation and of the State, and for related matters, I so move. A bill for an act to alter the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to further strengthen the judiciary for speedy dispensation of justice and for related matters, I so move. I hereby move for the third reading of a bill for an act to alter the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to provide time for the determination of pre-election matters and for related matters, I so move.
A bill for an act to alter the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to provide time for the determination of pre-election matters and for related matters. Third reading.
Bill read the third time and passed.
Third reading of a bill for an act to alter the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to reflect the establishment and core functions of the Nigeria.
Honorable colleagues, cautions the bill be now read the third time. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Clerks invited to read the long title of the bill.
The provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to reflect the establishment and core functions of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps and for related matters. Third reading.
Honorable colleagues, the third reading of a bill for act to alter the provision of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to reflect the establishment of the Investment and Securities Tribunal under the Constitution and for order and for related matters. Honorable members who recall your House adopted the report of the Committee of the Whole on the bill on Thursday, 27th July 2017. Therefore, call on the Leader of the House to move the bill be now read the third time.
I hereby move for the third reading of a bill for an act to alter the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to reflect the establishment of the Investment and Securities Tribunal under the Constitution and for related matters. I so move.
The establishment of the Investments and Securities Tribunal under the Constitution and for related matters. Third reading. Act to alter the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to reduce the age for qualification for the offices of the President and Governor and membership of the Senate, House of Representatives and the State House of Assembly and for related matters. Third reading.
I represent Marte Monguno, Ganze Federal Constituency of Borno State, acting leader of the House by the grace of Mr. Speaker. I hereby move for the third reading of a bill for an act to alter the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to specify the period within which the President or the Governor of a state shall present the appropriation bill before the National Assembly or House of Assembly and for related matters. I so move.
Rules and business.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Okay, Jeff. I represent the good people of Buruku, my dear colleagues. I'm from Benue State. I rise to second the motion that bill number 22 be read for the third time. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it.
Honorable colleagues, I am Mohammed Jafar Ibrahim, representing Nasarawa Toto Federal Constituency of Nasarawa State. I rise to move for a bill for an act to provide for the regulation of manufacture, sale, elevators and lifts, and for other purposes connected to them. I so move. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I wish to express my gratitude to you for giving me the opportunity to present this bill to this honorable House, to seek your support to pass it for second reading. Mr. Speaker, colleagues, this bill is an act to provide for the regulation of manufacture, sale, installation, maintenance.
Also in the gallery, Our student representative council.
Live from the floor of the House of Representatives, where members have Parliament Channel 306 StarTime Bouquet.
The following actional crisis. In my state of Kogi State, I have defected from the People's Democratic Party PDP to the All Progressive Congress people is more important than my personal interest. This political step is primaries of the yearnings and aspirations of my constituents. Thank you, Honorable Yusuf Ahmed Tijani. There's another letter of defection. I write to inform the Right Honourable Speaker and my distinguished honourable colleagues of the House of Representatives. The House is aware that as a result of the division and factional crisis within the People's Democratic Party in Abuja, Representative Zephaniah B. Gisalo, the People's Democratic Party, hereby on this day, Minister of the FCT, who is here today to welcome the legislative arm of the FCT administration is supposed to be the governor, or supposed to be his parliament. So all of you are welcome, members of your management team. Welcome. Everything the one is looking so far. When we invite you, we can have a meeting session as our governor, but not today.
Thank you. Point of order. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, we all know that in a democratic setting, the grand norm of the rules and guidelines is the Constitution. And Mr. Speaker, we must as a house be guided by the Constitution. And what is all that? Mr. Speaker, I think I need protection. Mr. Speaker, I need protection. Mr. Speaker, the matter on ground is a constitutional order. And I refer the House and Honorable Speaker to Section 68 of our Constitution, which is the grand norm on what Nigeria is based on. And it states that a member of the Senate or House of Representatives shall vacate his seat in the House of which he is a member if, and I quote section G. I read on. A, if he becomes a member of another legislative chamber, these are conditions where he should vacate the House. I go to G, Mr. Speaker. Being a person whose election to the House was sponsored by a political party, which in this case, they were sponsored by PDP. He became a member of another political party before the expiration of the period for which the House was elected, provided that his membership of the latter party, of the latter political party, is not as a result of division in the political party. Mr. Speaker, we are all aware today. Mr. Speaker, we are aware PDP is one, and there is no division in PDP. But Mr. Speaker, because we believe in the rule of law, this matter shall be taken to court. And I hope these honorable members will be ready to come and defend themselves. No, we are not going to allow it to lie down. We are going to take it to court, and both of them must vacate their seat because the judiciary is just, and we believe the judiciary shall do justice to us. Mr. Speaker, I so observe. And the point at hand, on those. So, Mr. Speaker, definitely our party, which all these honorable members were elected upon, will take this case to court, and we shall seek redress because they ought to have vacated their seats before defection. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Please, I don't know what you want to add. Okay, Honorable Osai, the senior advocate of the masses.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Distinguished honorable colleagues, I remain Honorable Osai Nicholas Osai. I represent Dokwa Federal Constituency of Delta State, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there's a case between Adekule and Ondo State PDP that was decided by the Supreme Court of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in the year 2016. Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, Mr. Speaker, the Constitution.
Please, can we listen to Honorable Osai in absolute silence, please? Please. Okay. One house. Honorable Boma, can can you take your seat? Honorable TJ. Honorable TJ. Honorable TJ. Honorable Boma, please take your seats. Please, 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 please. Honorable colleagues, please, please, please. Honorable Osai has never claimed to be a lawyer. So anybody calling him fake lawyer is only joking, because he has never claimed to be a lawyer. Never claimed to be a lawyer. So, Honorable Osai, it was just a joke. Continue, please.
It's okay. Mr. Speaker.
Please, this is a sustained point of order. You just have to allow Honorable Osai to exhaust his point of order. Then if there's any other point, I will rule first. Then you can raise any other point of order, please. Honorable Frederick, your hands. Honorable Osai, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Distinguished honorable colleagues. You know, we reference this chair of Mr. Speaker because Mr. Speaker ruled fairly. And I respect Mr. Speaker and his ruling. Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, the issue of Adekule versus PDP in Supreme Court judgment delivered ties your hand. Ties your hand completely, Mr. Speaker, because beginning of this 8th Assembly section, Mr. Speaker swore an oath to defend the Constitution and all other statutes which the ruling of the Supreme Court becomes part of it. Mr. Speaker, the ruling of the Speaker ties your hand. The law ties your hand. Now you have to take a decision based on the Constitution. And now, the minority whip of this honorable House has already adduced that, Mr. Speaker. It is upon that. It is upon that premise, Mr. Speaker. I think I'm protected, Mr. Speaker. I think I'm protected. Because I believe that the majority and supremacy of argument rule this House and not noise-making. Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, I believe, Mr. Speaker, since we have sworn an oath, all of us, 360 of us, have sworn an oath to defend the Constitution and defend any ruling from the judiciary. Mr. Speaker, the ruling of the Supreme Court ties your hand and ties the House. So on that, anything contrary, Mr. Speaker, is an impunity and a breach of the Constitution and the ruling from the judiciary. On this case, Mr. Speaker, I urge you, Mr. Speaker, I urge you, Mr. Speaker, to respect the law and ask for the vacation of the seat of Honorable Judiciary. On this ground, Mr. Speaker, I rest my case.
Okay, honorable colleagues, so that we don't belabor this issue, please. Doye, let me rule on this one. Because you are out of order already, I must rule on this point of order before you take your point of order. Now, honorable colleagues, for some of us who were here in the 6th Assembly, we inserted this provision in the Constitution. And if you read very well, Honorable Osai, you would see that as it was captured by the minority whip, that the declaration of the seat of a member vacant will be based in these circumstances on the fact that there was no division in the political party to which he belonged. Now, division in a political party is not defined. We do not define it in the Constitution. So it therefore means What that therefore means is that division in a political party is a question of facts and no question of law. And facts will vary according to circumstances of the case. The circumstances that may lead to Zephaniah or Tija's defection may not be the same in the case of the other case that you referred us to. So we'll now allow the judiciary to do their work, examine the situation, and tell us whether there was division or not, and then we can enforce their decision, please. So let's not belabor this issue. That's my ruling. I hope it's not on this matter that we have ruled. Okay, Honorable Doye, please.
Mr. Speaker, I remain Diri Doye, representing Yenagoa Kolokuma Opokuma Federal Constituency. I'm an Ijoman from Bayelsa State. Mr. Speaker, I come under Order 9, Rule 7. I read, Mr. Speaker, with your kind permission. It shall be out of order to use offensive and insulting language on members of the House. Mr. Speaker, this is a very honorable House, and that is why the appellation, honorable members, is added to all of us. And for the integrity of this House, Mr. Speaker, I want to advise that the honorable colleague who called Nicholas Osai a fake lawyer should render an unreserved apology to Ms. Nicholas Osai. Mr. Speaker, I so move. Thank you.
Chairman, rules and business.
Thank you. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Okay, Jeff, I represent the good people of Buruku. My dear colleagues, I'm from Benue State. Mr. Speaker, I indeed agree with Honorable Doye that foul language should not be used on the floor of the House. That's why I think it is pertinent that Honorable Osai should apologize. I'm coming. Honorable Osai said that we are making noise here. We are here for serious business. And I think we should withdraw that. He said we are making noise here.
Point of order. Point of order. This is getting interesting. I guess those who raise the point of order are quite apt. And first of all, I don't know who was it that referred to Honorable Osai as a fake lawyer. The apology would be very simple if I were you. You just substitute the words that Osai is not a lawyer, and you couldn't have been referring to him. So who was the person? Who is the person? Oh, it's you? Ah, that's serious. So is the whip? Okay, whip.
Yes. The Right Honorable Speaker, I am Pali Iriase. I represent Onwa Federal Constituency. Mr. Honorable Osai, to the best of my knowledge, is not a lawyer, and I could not have referred to him. Thank you very much.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
No. And then, Honorable Fred.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Agbedi Yetemina Frederick is my name. I represent Sagbama Ikirimo Federal Constituency.
It's okay, please, please. You can't speak from there. So, Honorable Chris.
Thank you, the Right Honorable Speaker. My dear colleagues, I remain Honorable Chris Emeka Azubogo. Mr. Speaker, I rise to observe with dismay the position the acting whip have taken. Excuse me. The truth is that you requested that he apologize for wrong use of word. The issue at question is not, Osa is not a lawyer, but Osa is a lawmaker. Standing up to do his work, that the word is not proper. And that's what we are talking about. It's offensive. Because he doesn't have the right to speak at the point in time, and he made it an issue. So it's a simple thing that he should apologize that he has withdrawn that word. It's not proper.
What's your point of order, Honorable Madachi?
Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, I don't know if we have. Allow me now. Am I addressing you? Mr. Speaker, I'm coming under personal explanation. Personal explanation. Which kind of order? Mr. Speaker, I don't know if in our rule book we have anything called observation. There is nothing called observation in our rule book. That's what I'm saying. So he's out of order.
No, he's absolutely right. He's saying in our rules we don't have any point of order called observation. And that was why I allowed him to take the point of order in the first place. So if your point of order is not grounded on any provision of the rule or the constitution or any law, it seems to me it's invalid. Honorable colleagues, I beg of you, can we make progress? Please. Honorable, okay, any member who has a petition to present to the House may please rise to do so. Honorable Ima, we'll just take just one.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'm Emmanuel Makojiegu. I represent Ida Igalamela Odolu from the Bajifra constituency of Kogi State. Mr. Speaker, I have a petition from Elder Dr. Paul Friday Sani, a member of Kogi State House of Assembly, my constituent, and his petition is based on the attack he received in the chamber of Kogi State House of Assembly, and since then, the IG of police have not taken any action, and he feels he should approach this honorable house to urge the IG to take immediate action to ensure that the perennial killings and attack on persons in Kogi State be stopped. Equally, for the past 8 months, even after court order, he has not been paid his salaries and allowances. He is equally demanding that the House should step into it. He equally want to ask the House, to ask the IG to guarantee his safety. Ignatius, come up.
This is the Nigerian Television Authority. We are reaching you live from the floor of the House of Representatives, where members have reconvened for Thursday's plenary. You can also watch us live on NTA Parliament channel on 306 Startime Bouquet. Well, the members have already commenced deliberations for today's sitting, and what we just finished watching is a member representative, Zephaniah Gisalo, representing Abuja Municipal and Buhari Federal Constituency of the FCT, who just defected from the People's Democratic Party, PDP, to the All Progressives Congress, APC. Well, after his defection, some of the members of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, raised a point of order, describing his defection and the reason he gave as having experienced crisis in the People's Democratic Party, PDP, as unfounded. But then Some other members, argued that the issue of crisis in the party is quite peculiar to the reason the individual gives. But then the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, now ruled on that particular point of order, explaining to members that Representative Zephaniah Gisalo's reason that crisis in PDP necessitated his defection to the All Progressives Congress. It's not an issue that will cause problem on the floor, that it's now left for the judiciary to decide whether actually there is division in the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and that issue was led to rest.
Colleagues, to the motion on the urgent need to look into the condition of teachers in rural communities. Right Honourable Speaker, Honourable colleagues, I remain Omotole Gabriela Imenezion, member representing Ovia North East and Ovia Southwest Federal Constituency of Edo State. This is a matter of urgent public importance on the urgent need to look into the condition of teachers in rural communities. Matter of urgent public importance on the urgent need to look into the conditions of teachers in rural communities, as today we celebrate World Teachers Day. I'm asking that the relevant rules be set aside in order for me.
Seconded to first limb of the motion, the matter be considered urgent. Honorable Asabe Velita.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, my respected colleagues. I am Asabe Velita. I represent Chibok, Koza Damboa Federal Constituency. I'm from Borno State. I rise, Mr. Speaker, to second the first leg of the motion to enable Honorable Omeshode to take her case as urgent. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Honorable DC will second the second leg of the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Chief DC Lovett. I represent the good people of Ethiop East and West Federal Constituency of Delta State. Mr. Speaker, my honorable chief. I rise to second the second leg of the motion to suspend our relevant rules that the matter be taken. I so second. Thank you.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Honorable Omosede, you can now move your motion. We're taking this motion because today is Teachers' Day. We ought to celebrate them.
Need to look into the conditions of teachers in rural communities. The House notes that October 5th every year is the World Teachers' Day, a day set aside to commemorate teachers worldwide. Also notes its aim is to mobilize support for teachers and to ensure that the needs of the future generation is sustainable. Further notes that rural-urban teacher migration are plagued in rural schools and remote locations in Nigeria. According to UNESCO, World Teachers' Day represents a significant token of awareness, understanding and appreciation of the roles of teachers to education and development. Aware that rural schools and remote location schools in Nigeria lack adequate teaching staff for a number of reasons. The evidence-based inequities in teachers teaching in rural and urban areas is a reality. Also aware that in Nigeria, incentives have not been included in the teaching staff welfare of rural teachers. Rather, it has been communities or parent teachers associations concerned to improve teaching welfare to attract teachers to rural communities. Concern the rural-urban drift of teachers has greatly affected educational development in the rural communities, thereby affecting performance of teaching and learning process in schools. Resolves that 1, UBEC should relate with the state government in support of primary education in Nigeria to ensure that an additional 25% salary be given to teachers in rural areas as an incentive to encourage them and discourage them from leaving these rural areas. And 2, to refer this matter to the Community on Basic Education to follow up. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Seconder. Honorable Kamale.
Honorable Speaker, my dear honorable colleagues, I am Adamu Diyu Kamale. I represent Michika Madagali Federal Constituency. I stand up, Mr. Speaker, to second the motion moved by my sister. I so second.
Honorable Mosadi, please 2 minutes to lead the debate.
Thank you, Right Honorable. As Nigeria joins the rest of the world today to celebrate World Teachers' Day on October the 5th, 2017, there is a need for us to x-ray the teaching and learning conditions of rural schools and in remote location schools in Nigeria. In line with this 2017 theme of teaching and freedom, empowering teachers, I urge and solicit the support of all honorable members to mobilize and reawaken all stakeholders to facilitate the attraction of teachers to rural communities through incentives. A comparative study of rural-urban migration of teachers has proven to be a reality, and the problem has gradually destroyed the educational development in the rural setting amongst all other factors that have hindered the teaching and learning process in Nigeria. This day is set aside worldwide to celebrate and commemorate teachers in different ways, such as honor teachers, arouse consciousness, and a conscious effort to improve teachers' welfare, develop positive strategy towards teachers' performance, and but to mention a few. In the rural setting, which is the grassroots of any nation, where education will guarantee economic growth and development, there has been a rural drift, and if not checked through incentives and additional benefits, will affect the teaching freedom. Freedom here implying freedom from such factors that hinder the effective teaching and learning process. Therefore, teachers need to be appreciated, especially in our rural communities, for the important role that they play in providing quality education to children and adults despite the challenging environment in which they find themselves. It is my submission, therefore, that there is an urgent need for us to look into and to create incentives that will attract teachers to rural and remote locations. I crave your indulgence and support to this motion as we celebrate teachers worldwide. Thank you.
Recognize 2 more contributors in order to celebrate teachers, and then we'll move on. First will be Sunday Adepoju.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, my name is Sunday Adepoju, representing Ibarapa East and Ido Federal Constituency of Oyo State. I rise to support the motion as simply moved by Honorable Ibinado, and I'm contributing positively to it. We have said it time and time, and we continue to say it to let the whole world know that we appreciate the work of teachers, because without them, none of us can be in the position we are today. And we have been saying it to the federal government, even at the state level, to give teachers priority which they deserve, of which the government of APC, being led by General Muhammad Buhari, is paying attention to the teachers, especially President Muhammadu Buhari, of which the salaries of teachers from the primary school, to the best of my knowledge, from my state and other states, from the allocation from the federation account, has not been delayed for 1 day, because of the importance that the federal government is attached to the teachers from the grassroots. And the same thing should apply to the government at the state level, to give the teachers in the secondary level the attention that it deserves, because without them, the nation is doomed. We are talking about development, technological development in so many areas. Without the teachers being adequately remunerated and taken care of, all these things will be it will be a mirage. For us to go forward, all members of this house is hereby urged to support the motion, and let us see what we can do to better the lot of the teachers, so that the incoming generations will not suffer what we have suffered and make Nigeria a better country for us. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Shehu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues. There's no doubt that the teacher is
order, honorable colleagues, order.
Component of every society. No society develops without good education, and you can't have good education without good teachers. Mr. Speaker, you are what you are today. We are all what we are because we had passed through the tutelage of good teachers. And therefore, on the occasion of the World Teachers Day, I think we need to use this as an opportunity to call attention of all types of government to the deplorable state of education in our nation, to the poor condition of service that our teachers go through. We all agree that the teacher is the bedrock of development, but we do not show that in our support for education and in the kind of conditions that we give our teachers. Mr. Speaker, we have edifices we build. We have 10-story, 20-story buildings here in the federal capital, but there is no secondary school that can be called a secondary school of repute or a primary school. Yet billions are voted for, billions are spent into building high-rise offices without thinking of how this country will be run in the future. We don't pay attention to education. We don't give it the kind of importance that it deserves. I think this day, being a very unique day, I think it's an opportunity for all of us to throw the searchlight on the condition of our teachers and the state of our education. I think we need to do more than we have done, and we need to put education at the center stage of our development effort. I think it is on this ground, Mr. Speaker, that we want to support the motion that was raised by my honorable colleague so that this country can once again be reminded of the fundamental importance of education for national development. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I'd ruled that only we're taking contribution from only 2 members, and we have satisfied that. Except you want me to break the rules. Because there are important matters that we'll have to deal with in the course of our business today. And we shouldn't spend the whole time discussing this matter. So I'll put the question. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable members, we'll make haste slowly. The first business of the day is presentation of 6 reports of Committee on Public Petitions, standing in the name of Honorable Uzomanke Mabonta. Honorable Mabonta is now invited to present them. Honorable Mabonta, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Uzomanke Mabonta. Mr. Speaker, may I move that the House received the reports from public petitions as reflected in other paper, item 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I therefore pray this House that I may sit at the table.
Seconder, Honorable Adegu.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, Honorable colleagues. Albert Abiodun Adegu is my name, representing Ife Central, East, South, and North of Ife Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from the source, Osun State. I rise to second the motion as ably moved by my colleague. I so second, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Honorable Abonta, please proceed and lay the report. The first order of the day is a motion on discharge of the Committee on Solid. discharge of the Committee on Solid Minerals Development on the Bill for an Act to provide for the establishment of a School of Mines and Geological Studies in Akoko, Edo local government area, and for related matters, House Bill 105, pursuant to Order 17, Rule 3G of the Standing Orders of the House of Representatives, standing in the name of Honorable OK Jeff Emmanuel Issa. Honorable OK Jeff is now invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. OK Jeff. I represent the good people of Buruku. My dear colleagues, I'm from Benue State. This is a motion to discharge the Committee on Solid Minerals Development on a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of a School of Mines and Geological Studies in Akoko Edo local government area and for related matters, pursuant to Order 17, Rule 3G of the Standing Orders of the House of Representatives. The House notes that a bill for an act to provide for the establishment of a School of Mines and Geological Studies in Akoko Edo local government area and for related matters was introduced on 18th November 2015 and read a second time on 15th of March 2016. Recall that the bill was referred to the Committee on Solid Minerals Development for further legislative action. Aware that the committee is here to present a report on the bill contrary to the provisions of Order 17, Rule 3G of the Standing Orders of the House of Representatives, to which any matter referred to any committee shall be treated within 30 days, otherwise the committee shall stand discharged after 60 days, and the matter committed to the Committee of the Whole for consideration. The House therefore resolves to discharge the Committee on Solid Minerals Development on the bill and commit same to the Committee of the Whole for consideration. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, I so move.
Seconder, Honorable Shuaibu.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, my dear honorable colleagues. My name is Abdurrahman Shuaibu. I represent Mubi North, Mubi South, and Maiha Federal Constituency. I'm from Adamawa State. I rise to second the motion heavily moved by the Honorable OK Jeff. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Second order of the day, honorable colleagues, a motion on deplorable state of Nigeria's foreign missions and its consequences on the nation's foreign policy, standing in the name of Honorable Nenna Elendu Ikeji. Honorable Nenna is now invited to move the motion.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir, for yielding the floor to me. My name is Nenna Elendu Ikeji, member representing Bende Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm from Abia State. The motion is on the deplorable state of Nigeria's foreign missions and its consequences on the nation's foreign policy. Mr. Speaker, the House notes that the embassies, high commissions, and missions are the vehicles for the implementation of Nigeria's foreign policy and protection of her image. The House also notes that some of the contributory factors to the deplorable conditions of the nation's embassies and high commissions, including the chanceries and residences of the ambassadors and high commissions in cities like Washington, D.C., New York, Geneva, London, Guangzhou, Hong Kong, Frankfurt, Brasilia, Juba, and Johannesburg, are poor funding and at oftentimes late remittances of approved funds. The House is aware that the funding challenges of the missions are affecting their operations, thereby resulting in unpaid allowances of home-based officers, huge debts owed to service providers, poor representation, low productivity, and morale of officers posted to those missions. The House is concerned about the situation where children and wards of the foreign officers are being sent out to schools for non-payment of school fees, and the officials are also being denied medical services due to non-payment of insurance premiums. The House resolves to urge the executive arm of government to increase funding to the foreign missions, also urge the Federal Ministry of Finance and the Accountant General of the Federation to ensure direct and timely remittance of funds to the Nigerian missions, to make annual budgetary allocations to enable the Committee on Foreign Affairs carry out proper oversight functions over the missions, and mandate the Committee on Foreign Affairs to to conduct a public hearing on the deplorable state of Nigeria's foreign missions and report back to the House in 8 weeks for further legislative action. I so move.
Honorable Dr. Achibo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, Dr. Henry Okon Achibong is my name. I represent the good people of Itu, Ibiono Federal Constituency in the uncommon state of Akwa Ibom. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the motion as ably moved by my senior colleague in the Foreign Affairs. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Nena, you may now lead the debate.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir, again, for yielding the floor to me. Again, Nena Elendu KJ, member representing Bende Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to thank you very much after the excitement of this morning for giving me the opportunity to bring before the House what, in my opinion, is probably the most important motion that I will bring before this House in my tenure as chair of the House Committee on Foreign Relations. Mr. Speaker, sir, this motion challenges the way in which we see ourselves. It challenges stereotypes and narratives. It challenges the hyperboles that has been out there, and it also challenges us and our patriotic spirit as citizens of this great country. Mr. Speaker, in working on this motion, I had cause to engage with all my colleagues, and I'm very glad to declare that I found bipartisan consensus on Nigeria's foreign policy delivery and the concerns that we all share. I can't think of a better time in our recent history than now, where there is need for us to have very strong, energetic diplomacy. House will recall that in the last 2 years, we have not had ambassadors, and we have only just appointed ambassadors. And of course, with the democratization of information, a lot of stereotypes and narratives were reached about our great country, and we were not there to counter them. And so, Mr. Speaker, it is at this time that we find that we must have a diplomatic regime that is up to its billing and that is very, very aggressive. Only last month, Mr. President spoke from the green marble podium of the United Nations, where he spoke very heartily about his aspirations of our country, about the successes that our country had recorded, and about the challenges Nigeria faces and the successes in the counter-terrorism war. A lot of people, in criticizing that speech, said that he spoke like the president of Africa, not like the president of Nigeria. But I can understand why the president would sound like that, because the president has been called the voice of Africa. Of course, Nigeria has consistently shown leadership in the Committee of Nations, in the Nano River basins, Liberia, Sierra Leone, in Cote d'Ivoire, and very recently, of course, Mr. Speaker, sir, the House is aware of what we've done in Mali and in the Gambia. Rewind 2 years, Mr. Speaker, Mr. President at his inaugural speech had stated, to the admiration of a lot of people, that Nigeria would be willing to serve in any leadership position she finds herself. Of course, that was to the admiration of everybody, and everybody got the message loud and clear: Nigeria are leaders. But, Mr. Speaker, the concern that we have is that we recognize that embassies are key to Nigeria's foreign policy delivery. Embassies are obliquely linked to Nigeria's foreign policy delivery. Mr. Speaker, they either make our image or they break our image. And that brings us to the crux of today's motion. Mr. Speaker, Nigeria has very lofty aspirations, very lofty foreign policy aspirations, and we have driven them. Nigeria is front, right, and center in peace in the sub-region and indeed in the entire region. Nigeria believes in a win-win situation where there's mutual respect for all and a free world economic order. Nigeria has pushed it. But, Mr. Speaker, at this point, I must make the point that our committee, the House Committee on Foreign Relations, strongly supports robust funding for Nigeria's foreign policy objectives. The Parliament's job in foreign policy delivery is the budget. That is the tool we use. Mr. Speaker, the committee is not unaware that Nigeria presently operates in a very difficult fiscal environment. the country is not, the committee is not unaware that Nigeria is slowly bringing herself out of a recession. We're also not unaware that when there is need to trim down budgetary fat, the first place that takes the hit is foreign affairs. And that is probably because we have a very small local constituency. Mr. Speaker, the reality in Nigeria is that the foreign affairs budget is a fraction of a fraction. It is 0.57% of the national budget, Mr. Speaker, less than 1% of our national budget. Of course, when people talk about how expensive it is to run foreign policy, the knee-jerk reaction is for us to cut back on the numbers of missions. And government has already started to rationalize on the number of missions. But Mr. Speaker, the reality is that because of our large image across the world, Mr. Speaker, there is a lot of competition out there. And the countries that we compete with for, say, the United Nations permanent seat in the Security Council are countries like South Africa and countries like Egypt. Mr. Speaker, we have 119 missions. Egypt has 196 missions. South Africa has 156 missions. Mr. Speaker, to get these seats, we need friends, we need votes, and of course, that means we need embassies. When people say we should cut back, my argument always is that if we take away from less than 1%, it has a zero bearing on the whole. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, sir, it is the opinion of the committee that that is not the way to go. Mr. Speaker, since we have appointed ambassadors, I have been inundated with telephone calls, emails about the deplorable state of Nigeria's missions abroad. A lot of the Chancery buildings are not habitable. Mr. Speaker, sir, we don't have Chancery buildings. The residences are even in a worse state. Mr. Speaker, it is impossible for us to have representational cards. Some of them are 20 years old. They are not insurable because they are considered to be scrap. But Mr. Speaker, sir, of course, we have all sorts of litigations around the world. They're chucking us out of our houses. Some of the landlords don't even want to renew the rents. And Mr. Speaker, sir, in my documents here, I actually have a letter from the State Department on some of the taxes that Nigeria owes. There's a second letter from the State Department, yet again, on the strike that was carried out by Nigerians in Washington, D.C. Mr. Speaker, so it is indeed true that the working and living conditions of our officers are very embarrassing. But Mr. Speaker, we make the point that while we agree that allocations to foreign policy are less than 1%, while we agree that sometimes Nigeria's elaborate foreign policy cannot be funded on a shoestring, while we agree that there are late remittances and sometimes no remittances at all, Mr. Speaker, the problem and what we have come to agree is that if we are to embrace our opportunities and overcome the challenges that we have no option but to seek an open, transparent, honest regime delivered at a cost that reflects our resources and eliminates waste to the barest minimum. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is our belief in the committee that we must marry the country's aspirations in a means that puts our country first. And Mr. Speaker, we have carried out oversight in the Committee on Foreign Relations. And I'm going to come up with some figures that may shock the House. And that is the reason why the committee is calling for a public hearing. Mr. Speaker, the federal government has given us ceilings, the number of people that must be in every mission. Of course, we believe that there are a lot of policy manipulations. Mr. Speaker, in the UK, for instance, there's supposed to be 40. We have 89 home-based staff. Mr. Speaker, of this 89 home-based staff, 19 of them are drivers of very nicely called chauffeurs. Of these chauffeurs, Mr. Speaker, sir, each one serves at an average cost of £26,000 per annum. Mr. Speaker, sir, medical expenses also do not have a ceiling. For instance, there is a medical bill here still outstanding of £306,000 for one person. Another person incurred £668,000. Another person has incurred a bill of £62,000. Mr. Speaker, sir, all these are outstanding for the country. Of course, in Washington, D.C., the ceiling is 22, we have 44. In Washington, they say to us that terminal benefits will cost the country $720,000 for us to bring the people back in compliance with government. Mr. Speaker, in New York, it is said that the mission there had to borrow $980,000, $20,000 shy of $1 million from the peacekeeping account to maintain the Nigerian House. Mr. Speaker, so I will shock you for a period of 1 year. So, Mr. Speaker, if we go to Brazil, the story is not any different. The Nigerian government has incurred a debt of $360,000 on the medical of one person who eventually died. Mr. Speaker, I just speak about 3 or 4 missions. And so, the committee believes that by this motion, that while we realize that indeed a lot more has to be done, that government must quickly write off the debts because they are subject of litigation and therefore subject of embarrassment in places like Guangzhou, where we owe 428,000, Hong Kong 228 million, Frankfurt 307, New York 644 million naira, Washington DC, Brasilia 478, 191 for Juba, and Mr. Speaker, sir, the list goes on and on and on. Our concern, Mr. Speaker, is that while we agree that our foreign policy is not properly funded, we're also very concerned that if we cannot plug the loopholes, the areas of waste, the bleeding places, Mr. Speaker, that even if we were to increase funding, I am not very sure that it would make much of a difference. Only last year, Mr. Speaker, there was appropriation, there was the intervention from on the supplementary appropriation, and there was also the intervention on the shortfall of foreign exchange. Mr. Speaker, our missions are still in a deplorable state. And so what the committee is seeking is 3 things. That we urge the executive arm of government, the Minister of Finance, as well as the budget, DG Budget, Minister of Budget and Planning, to please intervene. It is of the utmost import that we're able to get the ambassadors who we have posted properly situated in the hope that they can start to challenge the narratives that have already been formed. That 2, that the House grants leave to the House Committee on Foreign Relations to conduct an in-depth public hearing, forensic in-depth public hearing on the waste, in the hope that we can plug the wastage. And 3, Mr. Speaker, sir, that we as a country start to indeed charge the rest of the people, especially the people who work in the country, to remind them that one of the greatest things that needs be required of a person who serves this country, especially outside the country, is unapologetic patriotism. My dear colleagues, I hope that you will support this motion, and thank you very much.
Okay, Honorable Jones, you are dropping your hands. Honorable Nasir Ali Ahmed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My name is Nasir Ali Ahmed. I represent Nassau Federal Constituency, and I'm from Kano State. Mr. Speaker, there's a saying, the House is a reflection of who you are. Our foreign missions abroad, Mr. Speaker, are truly a reflection of Nigeria. They are the image and they are the face of Nigeria. Mr. Speaker, I wish to commend the mover of this motion because I have been to a couple of our foreign missions abroad and I've seen how they live, Mr. Speaker. It is a terrible situation. Mr. Speaker, our diplomats that are there for so many reasons. Number one, they promote our country. They promote our trade and investment opportunities. Mr. Speaker, it is sad that sometimes we have had situations whereby these diplomats have had their children thrown out of school, all because funds have not been available, have been made available to them. Mr. Speaker, we have also had issues where they have been denied basic medical health care because funds have not been sent to pay for insurance and other stuff. Mr. Speaker, it is also important to note that these people are there to protect the interests of Nigerians living in that country. So, if they themselves are going through these issues, Mr. Speaker, I don't see how they will work, how they will perform optimally. It is basically impossible. So, Mr. Speaker, this is a very important motion, and I urge this Honorable House to support this motion. I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to talk.
Honorable Toby.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I contribute with pain on the motion on the deplorable state of Nigeria's foreign missions and its consequences on the nation's foreign policy. Mr. Speaker, we are all aware where we are coming from. If we appointed ambassadors 2 years late, it presupposes that we should make every effort to ensure that remittances to these embassies are done early. And they also need additional funding for them to be up to speed with what has been lost. Mr. Speaker, well, it's understandable that they get the remittances early. As members of this parliament, we are all aware that we also get our remittances also late. As at now, our salaries have not been paid. So it is a routine that remittances come late. But the problem we have with foreign missions is that these foreign countries don't behave the way we do. And the opportunity for endurance is not there. So I believe that the government, particularly the foreign affairs, and those responsible for issues of fund and its remittance should address the defects that occasion this type of abnormality, because it's not helpful. Well, I believe that at public hearing, at the investigative hearing, we will have the opportunity to x-ray some of the challenges. We have our missions acquiring liabilities all over the place. These are things that do not do well for our country's image. When, for instance, we have Nigerians who are subjected to any level of exposure or danger, our missions are not able to take that responsibility. And that is simply because they've not gotten the remittances that are due. Honorable colleagues, I think that this is a motion that is very important, but there are some low-hanging fruits, some quick wins that we can easily address. Let us agree that because of revenue profile, we are not getting enough money. We cannot say so for the money we have gotten, remitting it late. We cannot remit money late. We should be able to do it promptly. Salaries don't wait. Months go by. Responsibilities don't wait. So, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I call on my colleagues
to support this motion and pass it with the speed of light. Thank you very much.
Honorable Sai. Honorable Toby, you made reference to low-hanging fruits. We can't see them. Where are they? You didn't point to one.
I hope you are not accusing me of missing on a lighter note.
That's it, language.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Distinguished honorable colleagues, I remain Honorable Osai Nicholas Osai. I represent the local federal constituency of Delta State, Mr. Speaker. I wholeheartedly, Mr. Speaker, support this motion. I support this motion because this motion is a projection to cure certain ailment that is happening in our foreign embassies. Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleague, I have also looked at the result. That is the only way I have a little issue. I look at the result from 1 to 4. Now, if we are going to conduct a public hearing, the essence of conducting a public hearing, Mr. Speaker, is to get real data of what is happening in these embassies. And if we get the accurate data, we are now making projection for the budgetary provision in order to maintain these embassies, which the mover of the motion have gotten it right, that such motion should come and such a committee should be mandated to conduct that public hearing. So in light of that, Mr. Speaker, distinguished honorable colleagues, I believe that prayer 1 and 2 is not needed at this moment. Because the essence of public investigation is to be able to bring out facts. And this House cannot just make judgment without facts. And that's the essence why we have committees. We have committees to be able to investigate, get us the basic facts, and that committee, based on those facts the committee has adduced to us, we use it to make judgment in terms of what we want to do. So in the light of it, I believe that prayer 1 and prayer 2 should be deleted, while prayer 3 and 4 should be retained. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Robert Jones.
Mr. Speaker, my dear honorable colleagues, let me join my colleagues. My name is Honorable Jones Onyeri, representing the largest federal constituency in the country, Nkweri 2, Wangelenjaba federal constituency. Let me join my colleagues, Mr. Speaker, in saluting the mover of this motion, and to quickly say that on the one hand, I would also want to salute the President for his great performance at the UN General Assembly, and also to say that down here, we've had cause to celebrate our mileage in ease of doing business. But Mr. Speaker, on the other hand, is in conflict with what we see in our missions and embassies. Let us be mindful of the fact that the first port of call for all investors will be our missions and embassies. And I've had cause to interact with these people in the course of our foreign travels, foreign missions. And we've realized that indeed that they lack funding. Mr. Speaker, it will shock you to know that some of these embassies don't even have the necessary equipment and materials to carry out their operations. Mr. Speaker, let us not find ourselves like what we have even in our police stations, where police officers, for lack of funds, would want people to give them money to buy simple things like foolscap sheet. Mr. Speaker, we might be getting to that stage in our embassies. And when we get to that point, it will be most appalling. The second point, Mr. Speaker, is that at this point, based on the submissions of Honorable Nenna, I think we should begin to think out of the box. She had mentioned the issue of huge debts that we have incurred based on medical bills and our inability to even maintain our vehicles. Mr. Speaker, I don't know what the conditions are, but I know that these embassies might have necessary waivers. But I think that we should, because I know how they operate outside the shores of this country. I think as a country, we should be able to pay our insurance premiums for medicals and for our vehicles. Because if we do that, there will be no need for us to incur such good debts because the insurance will take care of them. If we have dilapidated vehicles, the insurance will make sure that they give you enough funds to get even new vehicles for accidented cars. So, Mr. Speaker, I think it's about time that we begin to think out of the box to find out whether it will be necessary for us for the government to pay the insurance premiums to take care of these necessities. I rest my case, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Datti will be the last contributor from this row.
Right Honorable Speaker, my distinguished colleagues, my name is Honorable Garba Datti Mohammed. I represent Sabon Gari Federal Constituency of Kaduna State. Mr. Speaker, I want to lend my voice and support this motion wholeheartedly. Mr. Speaker, to say that Nigerian embassies are in precarious condition is just an understatement. Mr. Speaker, most of these embassies are truly underfunded. And you find out that in most of these countries, when you go where we don't have our own mission that belongs to where we rent, most of the embassies are being threatened with ejection, with eviction. And you find out that even where we have our own embassies, there is also threat from those host countries to revoke our building permit because of lack of maintenance. So, Mr. Speaker, I will just cite one example of what happened to us, because even the embassies we rent, some of them are very old, dilapidated. We are in Spain in 2013. Myself, my friend Nena, Honorable Opia, Nana, sorry, not Nena. Even before we entered the embassies, all of us were afraid because of the lift. Even in Nigeria, I've never seen such a lift where somebody will be at the ground floor and be controlling with key. It's a lift that has been discarded almost 100 years ago. They are still using it in that embassy. So immediately the three of us entered, it was so narrow and it was hooked. We are hooked at the middle. We don't even know what to do. We are shouting, Mr. Speaker. So, and apart from that, even with the meager resources that are being sent to the embassies, Mr. Speaker, the need to have regular and constant oversight is very important, because there is high level of misappropriation and misapplication of funds in most of these embassies. We have seen instances where local staff that are employed that have not been paid for many months, which is an embarrassment to Nigeria. So, Mr. Speaker, such things definitely I support the move of the motion, particularly with that issue of oversight. It's very, very important. Even the meager resources have not been applied the way it should be. I urge my colleagues to please support this motion so that we can have public hearing on this very important motion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Take some from this row, and then last. Honorable Zachary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Zachary Mohammed. I represent Barutinka. I'm a federal constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Kwara State. Mr. Speaker, my colleagues have said they've made their intervention, but I just want to point out that in the 7th Assembly, I had the rare privilege of following the Foreign Affairs Committee to at least 5 missions, and the story is all the same. I was in New York, Tarrytown. The house is on about 5,000 hectares, but Nigeria house. But the truth of the matter is that that house...
Sorry, did you say 5,000 hectares? Be too sure of what you're saying, please.
Not 1,000 hectares. Or 3 hectares, sorry. 3, sorry. But what I want to bring out is a house on a very strategic location. But the sad part of it is that the house has never been maintained for a very long time. In fact, then there are people who were making out ways of buying that house. That was one of the reasons why the chair Foreign Relations Committee insisted we must visit the house. But that sale has been put on hold. We went to Brasilia, we saw the same situation, and Havana. What I'm trying to bring out is that they are not funded properly. And unless we correct it, we will still be seen like footnotes in the Committee of Nations. So, Mr. Speaker, we have a responsibility as a House to appropriate enough funds and ensure that they are properly utilized for our missions. Even simple taking care of Nigerians when they have issues, the embassies cannot do that. And it's a shame to our country, and that's why you find out that our host countries usually begin to look down on us, and we must change the trend. And the only way we can change the trend is to ensure that budgetary provisions are made. And of course, I adopt all the prayers as if they were mine, and I urge my colleagues that we should support this motion and let it go. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Nana.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. Raphael Nana Imokwe is my name, and I represent the good people of Ayazu Ezinize Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, my short contribution is thanking the mover of the motion. I think the very essence of this motion is to raise the consciousness of government, Nigerians, and the parliament to the deplorable state of our embassies and foreign missions. There will be no need to belabor the fact that yes, they are in deplorable states and urgent action needs to be taken. This is where the public hearing canvassed by the mover becomes very important. We have also, to be fair to the executive arm, we have also had where the government has said they had plans to reduce the number of missions we have overseas. I believe as a cost-saving measure, which also lays credence to the fact that they have realized that yes, there's high cost of maintaining our missions, and they are not meeting up to the expenditure requirements of this mission. And what we are saying is, the best way to put this is, as a parliament, we who have been saddled with the responsibility of oversighting the functions of most of these missions, we've come to a point that we're trying to make a clarion call for a state of emergency to be declared relating to our embassy.
Well, this is where we'll round off today's live broadcast of the plenary of House of Representatives. Well, the members at today's plenary adopted a motion urging government at all levels to improve the welfare of Nigerian teachers, especially at rural areas. Well, this is part of measures to commemorate the 2017 Teachers' Day. Well, earlier, a member representing Abuja Municipal and Buhari Federal Constituency of the FCT, Representative Zephaniah Gisalo, defected from the People's Democratic Party, PDP, to the All Progressives Congress, APC. Well, it's at this point that we'll now round off today's live broadcast of the plenary. We'll now take you straight to our studios for the continuation of the scheduled program for the day. I am Ignatius Nko, and on behalf of our outside broadcast crew, I say bye for now.